6. Тишо! Отворил ли си там? Шест. И раз, 6. Добре, така бива. Нещо. Чуваш ли? 6 проба. И раз проба 6. Момченцето с опашката. Оператор чето.
So as I said already, it's all about relationships. And this time, not relationships of humans, but relationships between humans and machines. So it's also romantic. It's also almost as romantic as human-human relationship. I hope I can convince you about that. But first, let's start in the past. Phase 1. Remember that? It's not that long ago. It's in the 60s. Mainframe computers, like big machines, like in big halls, operated by, well, more or less one expert sitting there and typing the stuff into the machines. So speaking about relationships, so what do you think, like this kind of relationship? It's of course more an expert relationship. As soon as the human operator comes into the room, the doors are closed, so it's a really closed expert relationship we had back in the time. Not that long ago, as I said, but it's this kind of characteristic we see here. It's also important to bear in mind that the machine back in that time also had like, well, sometimes more, several experts sitting in front of it. So the machine was also actually sharing the operators, the human experts in that case. The next phase, well, the two, they come a bit closer. They adapt to each other in various forms. It was the PC era. And as the name already says, like it's personal computing. So the relationship got more personal between humans and computers in that sense. It got more personal. You have your own computer. Your computer contains your stuff and your interests. And you can interact directly with the computer in a deeply way. If you do personal computing, you're completely occupied with your personal computer. You don't make anything else, but you're just in this interaction scenery with your PC. Some people even gave name to their PCs. They curse it, they blame about their PC. So this relationship era was absolute personal. So for any good relationship, you know, communication is very important. Don't underestimate communication. Back in that time, like having this kind of surfaces, communication in general was quite bad. So what happens after that? After that, after the personal computing area, it seems that, I just take this microphone in the hand, I guess it's more flexible. It seems that the computer actually got some kind of, well, let's say midlife crisis maybe. It distributed itself to the whole world. It connected itself to everything it can actually grab, distributing computing and internet. And the transition was not only for the computers, but also for the humans. It got more kind of like an open relationship. So with the internet, from that perspective, it was also that the computer, it wasn't just that square, gray thing in front of you. It just changed their body. Sometimes it got into automobiles, it got into kitchens, into fridges, into everything that surrounds us actually in the physical world. That's what we call ubiquitous computing, and that is what I say it's phase 3. So it's embedded into the entire environment. And Internet of Things and ubiquitous computing are kind of this metamorphosis where we as humans are deeply merged within this kind of cyber-physical system. So the relationship in that sense has almost a characteristic of, well, let's say a wedding, because you cannot just run away from it. It's not like kind of a one-night stand and you go afterwards. The computers surround your everyday life and the environment you are. So looking at this development in the three phases, one thing is clear. It's not about technology, it's about the relationship of us and technology. This is a sentence from Mark Weiser. He already stated that in the 90s. And I think this is important to bear in mind. I mean, it sounds simple, but especially we as developers and engineers, we focus very much on technology all the time. And we think about stuff, how we can actually, what we can do with technology and the effects that technology have. And this is the predominant view. Speaking about our future is almost the same as speaking about technological possibilities in the future. But it is about the relationship that's important. So you would wonder what might be phase 4. So after the exploration of our environment, of nature in general, I think the next phase is going not actually into space and to our surrounding, but much more into us. It's the next phase all about the human body. The human body is the next engineering platform. So first, it's outside the body. Google just, I think it was 2 weeks ago, introduced this kind of like textile fabrics, interactive, so you can just tap on your wearable, your fabrics, and you can interact with technology. It goes right onto the body with, for example, tattoos. We already have that with sensors inside. And finally, it goes inside the body. So that might, I don't know if you have seen that. This is a big device. It's really huge. It's in the forearm here, and it has approximately the size of a smartphone, a little bit tinier. But this is actually a body hacking project that is, or that a friend of mine did last year. And it seems like, and I just picked that picture because it remembered me so much about the phase 1 I showed you in the beginning. Remember the mainframe era in computers, and now look at this picture. I think this is kind of a beginning. It's like a mainframe of body hacking, of biohacking. So, body hacking is, of course, we use open source technology. We do it in a DIY manner. You see the size of this implant. And of course, we don't have the resources, and we don't have proper labs to develop some tinier stuff that isn't like the size of a smartphone or something like that. That's the main reason why this is, like, in my point of view, the beginning of the exploration of our body as an engineering platform. This device is actually measuring physiological values like temperature, body temperature, stuff like that. And you can transmit the data via Bluetooth to your device. Basically, you can view your temperature, for example, for a longer time. So this is really basic about the function, but the point is it's more like a modular setting where you can put different sensors, whatever you want, and you can actually measure this physiological data. So it's about experimenting with our own bodies, and it's also about having a different view onto the human body. I think this is actually more deeper in the sense that body hackers basically don't view the body as something terminated, as something completed, but seeing the human body much more as a starting point, as a fundament where you can actually get connections with technology and get extensions on your perception, on your physiological reactions, and so on. So one goal also from body hacking is going from what is called an open loop to a closed loop, because you might wonder, okay, why are these guys doing this kind of crazy stuff, and what's the goal of that? What's the reason for doing that? I think to make up a bigger picture, the open loop, as I showed here, is what we have currently, right? So we use basically technology as an extension for us humans to make effect to our environment. But what's missing there is actually like a feedback loop that we get the information back from the outside. We're just affecting our planet, basically everything we can affect, but we don't have the sensory organs to see the effects of our, let's say, impact to our environment. So it was about, I think, 10 years ago when Paul Crutzen introduced this, what he named Anthropocene, a new geological era. What's behind is that we as humans gained so much importance, this kind of importance that we're the main factor to impact the Earth's ecosystem. And we don't actually feel it. So we're just doing it and we don't feel it. We have, of course, Internet of Things. We have a broad sensor network around the world, but there's actually no real responsibility of us humans what we're actually doing right now. And what we're doing is destroying our basically our planet. And the basic thought of that is, if we introduce this kind of missing link, this kind of feedback loop back to us as humans, if we develop this kinds of sensory organ, we would totally act different and create responsibility for our effects in combination with technology. So this is, as I said, basically just possible by introducing this closed loop system. So it's basically a closed loop system between cybernetics and organisms. And this cybernetic organism are the two parts of the cyborg. So the cyborg means that we create this cybernetic loop out of our system, out of our organ system, and include this kind of technosphere and technological means where we affect our environment. So if we do that, and if we start using technology not only for affecting, but also for sensing the environment, it's comparable if you imagine like having the Internet of Things or the ubiquitous computing approach for getting that feeling for your own personal sensory apparatus. That's my claim, we are able basically to introduce this kind of responsibility for our environment. So how could that work? You might know about like augmented realities, you might know about Google Glass and stuff. So there's a lot of information basically that could augment our human body, let's say biological senses by technology. But if you think about the idea getting a feeling for our bigger ecosystem, for example, for our even universe, I think that would be too much information for us humans to actually process all the time. So the body as the next engineering platform, I think one thing that's really interesting is not just hacking the human sensory apparatus, but even hacking the nervous system, connecting the nervous system of the human with this kind of I want to make that a little bit more concrete by the example of the stimulation of the vagus nerve. So as you can see here in the picture, this is a medical approach that is already introduced a few years ago. So the vagus nerve is basically a nerve that goes from your brainstem here in your heart, in your brain, down here on the ears, and goes down here on the neck until your abdomen. And the vagus nerve is one of the most important nerves that controls, for example, relaxation, that controls your inner organs, and have a deep impact, let's say, on your basically parasympathetic system on your body. So vagus is Latin, and it means like wandering. It wanders through your whole body, and if you stimulate it in a right fashion, it can be also used, for example, for diseases like migraine, epilepsy, and as you can see here in the picture, the implant is made directly around the vagus nerve, and you can stimulate the nerve with a pulse generator that is implanted here in the chest. So I brought something to make this more visible, and maybe you can understand it better if you see something. I don't have it implanted, so I brought it in a non-invasive way. I have here a vagus nerve stimulator, and this is basically a device that, for example, as I said, migraine people use. And basically these are two electrodes, and you can activate the device by just pushing the button and then holding the two electrodes here on your throat, and a little current goes through, right? And through the current you can stimulate the nerve. So as they do it here in an invasive manner with an implant. So I think basically modulation of the nervous system could be a way to also get this feedback from the sensory installations we already have, and we just have to find manners to integrate and to get a human access to this kind of like Internet of Things and sensory network in the right manner. So what I claim is, talking about the relationships, that's how I started, the relationship of a closed loop. So a closed loop that you really have with cybernetic tools is that you can actually, you don't see the interface anymore. You don't tap on your touch screens and stuff like that. You don't put on stuff on your keyboard. You basically use your body as the interface. Your body is the interface, and the technological devices or the technological extensions, more broadly spoken, is the extension of yourself. So there's basically this kind of like indistinguishability of biology and technology. They're characterized much more as complements of each other and not rather than separate partners. So this relationship in a closed loop cybernetic organism system is characterized by transparency and also by shared control. I mean, right now you have at least a feeling that you can consciously control your technological devices. But imagine if it's just implanted in your body and you can control it with your physiological reactions, for example, or your thoughts even. This is a basic question of how we designed this shared control system. And I think we should get, well, actually used to it, and we should at least think about what kind of basic societal fundament, what kind of norms, what kind of normative values we want to establish as a society to really build up this kind of shared control systems. Yes, so since all this kind of stuff for many people well, at first hand, sounds like science fiction. It sounds like future in hundreds of years, or maybe, okay, 10 years. Actually, what I've told you here, it's already happening. This is nothing futuristic. This is just happening right now. And this is something of today. And that's the main reason, why, the reason of that we already entered this phase of deep mergence of biology and technology, why we actually founded an association in Berlin first, in Germany. We called it Cyborg e.V. We want to treat that topic, we want to discuss about these topics, and we want to bring it to a broader societal audience so we can have this more participatory approach by a discussion, by making self-experiments with us, like body hacking experiments, and bringing these facts to a broader audience. So, as I said, so as a group, we're basically a small group. We don't have all the answers. We just want to bring that topic forward and looking forward to this exciting future of human technology symbiosis. Okay. This is my last slide. One goal that we have is establishing these platforms, establishing physical platforms where people can exchange knowledge, exchange experiences they've made with their technology body combinations. And in our case, it's mostly hacker spaces we meet. So these are independent spaces where people just can come by. They're open to everyone. And with the aim to actually bring these topics, as I said, of human-machine integration to, to interested people. So as a group of biohackers, we also search not only for these physical exchange platforms, but we also want to establish some virtual platforms in form of a forum, for example, where also this exchange can happen. We wrote a manifesto that also mirrors our political standpoints, like, for example, the cyborg rights. And I would be very pleased if you're interested more into the topic, please contact me on the email here or on my Twitter handle you can see here. Or if you're in Berlin, even better, just come by and participate in that discussion. As I said, I'm very glad to bring this topic here to you as well, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thanks for this very thrilling, very thrilling explanation. I think it's raising a lot of questions in Twitter. There were a lot of people having starting very philosophical questions right now. I think you are leaving a lot of input and good suggestions. I think for also more conversations on other issues within the field of internet governance. And it's true, it's not the future anymore. The future is already here. Please just stand by. We are about to start the next panel on data protection. Thank you very much for staying with us. If anyone wants to talk to Stefan, I think he's staying a while with us. Yeah, you're not leaving. So I think we have a small break and then we're back with no break. We have no break. Okay, so then I would just ask the coordinator and the moderator of the data protection panel and all the panelists to come in. I think I'm seeing one already. So we just do a very swift change of settings. Where are they? Wow, this is the first time, no show. Where are the panelists? They're here? Okay. Ah. We have one here. Hello?
It is on. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And I know it's been a long day and we've been in lots of sessions, so we definitely appreciate you coming out to this session. I'm Karen McCabe. I'm with the IEEE, which is known as the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. We're very much honored to participate in EuroDIG this year. It's really our first one. And to have worked alongside the planning team for this event, as well as the full EuroDIG community on this plenary on privacy and data protection in the emerging world of big data and new services. I'd also like to thank EuroDIG organizers for organizing a very excellent program through a multi-stakeholder open process and really providing a wonderful platform for open dialogue among the whole community. I think the regional IGFs are so critical to the dialogue of internet governance and how we can really work together to shape the internet. So this plenary will be addressing the privacy and data protection concerns and issues and new paradigms for privacy in an increasingly connected world in an era of big data. We'll touch upon privacy rights, the right to know and the right to be forgotten, informed consent, data control and impact on the end user or the customer, business and even social sciences. After some brief introductions by our panelists, we'll really encouraging very interactive discussion not only among the panelists, but with the audience and as well as our remote participants, excuse me. So we're really encouraging everyone to participate and just take part of the dialogue. I think, we might be, well, we used to have some microphones up here, so we'll make sure we pass these along. So it might be a little awkward, but we'll do our best to get the mic so everyone can be heard, especially for the remote participants. So I'm very much pleased to introduce our panel, who are here to provide the content, the perspective, and the insight and the thoughts so that we can have a very interactive panel discussion this afternoon. So please welcome Mr. Vladislav Karadoff, Mr. Jacob Dex, Dr. Louise Bennett, and Professor Bhaskar Chobi. I also want to just take a moment to note that we, as all the other sessions that you've been experiencing today, we have a plenary reporter, our rapporteur, as well as a remote moderator as well. So we'll best make sure we're checking in to make sure if there's questions coming our way, we see anything on the tweet board that we want to, again, engage in the conversation, we incorporate that as well. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to our panelists to start with their introductory remarks, and I think we'll just start with the far left. Right, excuse me.
Yes. Okay, I'll take the reference from the previous presentation and the photo there, where was written utopia. For data protection rights, I don't think it's utopia to protect them. So that's why I would like to start my short presentation with a few words about describing the data protection reform. It's obvious, at least for me, that these days we face a hurricane of mistrust. Current rules on data protection need to be modernized to meet the rapid technological development and globalization. To this end, I would consider the European reform seeks to reinforce the protection of privacy, to establish rules applicable to the online environment, and to encourage companies to develop accountability policies to strengthen supervision and ensure justice for data subjects. From my perspective, accountability can be defined as the ability to establish what an entity did at a certain point in time in the past and how. In the field of data protection, it often takes a broader meaning and describes the ability of parties to demonstrate that they took appropriate steps to ensure that data protection principles have been implemented. Accountability from this point of view is particularly important in order to investigate personal data breaches where cloud clients, providers and sub-processors may each bear a degree of operational responsibility. The ability for the cloud platform to provide reliable monitoring and comprehensive logging mechanism is of paramount importance in this regard. Moreover, cloud providers should provide documentary evidence of the appropriate and effective measures that deliver the outcomes of the data protection principles. Providers have to ensure that identification of all data processing operations to respond to the access request, the allocation of resources, access request, the allocation of resources including the designation of data protection. In addition, data controllers should ensure that they are prepared to demonstrate the setting up of necessary measures to the competent supervisory authority upon request. In the world of today, Internet of Things, cloud computing and big data are key data protection challenges. And data is the heart of the public and social life, and we all agree on that. The advent of the digital age is closely linked to the notions of cloud computing, big data, data analysis, and Internet of Things. Information is the main asset of today's digital economy, which on the one hand allows companies to operate globally, but on the other poses a big challenge to privacy. The wide range of technical access possibilities to data and lack of legal awareness among developers create a number of serious data protection risks. These risks range from lack of transparency and lack of awareness among users to poor security measures, invalid consent mechanisms, a trend towards data maximization and elasticity of data processing process. In order for users to be able to exercise control over the processing of their personal data, apps must be clear and visible, and to inform the users about the existence of the access and the correction mechanisms. Application developers and other data controllers must enable apps users to exercise their rights to access, rectification, erasure, and their right to object of data processing. If a user exercises the right to access, the data controller has to provide the user with information about the data being processed and the source of those data. If the controller takes mounted decisions based on the complied data, the controller must also inform the user about the logic being under these decisions. That's what I think about that process as a data protection expert. Additionally, I would say that users should always be provided with the possibility to withdraw their consent. Full adherence to the core data protection principles, the principle of data minimization, purpose limitation, necessity, and proportionality is more important than ever in the age where enormous amount of data is collected at everyday basis. Compliance with the data protection principles is our privacy guarantee, in particular guarantee that we won't be subject of profiling in large-scale context. From legal certainty perspective, clarity about allocation of obligations and responsibilities among controllers and processors is of a key importance. It is modern these days to talk about and discuss the concept of right to be forgotten. The European Court of Justice ruling and the Google case refers to a specific complaint and person, but in a broader sense. It has opened a wide debate about how to approach privacy in the online environment. it was the kickoff point of complaints to start thinking of a new technological solutions and policies that respect privacy. The success of the ruling is to be found in companies' determination to develop products that would restore consumers' trust in the online services. The concept of the right to be forgotten, as proposed in the General Data Protection Regulation, reflects these aspirations towards enhanced privacy online, with the complete understanding that this is not an absolute right and it should coexist with other recognized rights with special significance to the digital world, such as the right to information. And in fact, I consider that the right to be forgotten is a modification notion of the existing legal norm of the right to insure, with the right to insure, which is especially designed to adapt to the traditional rights to the new online reality and its specifications. Assessment of whether the